Welcome to Can, the marketing podcast. I'm Ben from Human Digital, the B2B marketing agency.
And I'm Steph from Q Marketing, making brands shine since ages ago.
This week, we're getting future focused. We're sharing our 2026 predictions of what we think will really matter for marketers over the next year across brand, performance, AI, and budgets.
So dust off your crystal balls. We're about to wildly predict the future with just enough confidence to sound convincing.
Remember, we release a new episode every week, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Yes, Steph. It's
Happy 2026, Ben.
Oh my
We're
God.
back.
We are back. We are back after a nice break, refreshed. How was your break, Steph? What did you get up to?
Okay, so it was amazing. I had a lovely time. And it was a bit soggy for me over the break, which I think it was for a lot of people around the country. And we know that you didn't experience.
I had a bit of sogginess. It actually did rain. It did rain.
Okay, well, I'm pleased to hear it. So, no, I was down in the Coromandel, and luckily for me, I wasn't camping, and I just had a really wonderful time away with both my aging parents and my teenage children. And I just feel super relaxed. It's been really lovely to get away and just kind of. I know we talked about doing 52 episodes in a year, but I think it's been wonderful to have a 2-week break.
100%. Yeah, break is much needed.
Yeah. So tell me. I mean, you went to exotic shores.
I did.
Tell us where Ben Van Rooy went for his summer holiday.
Well, I spent Christmas with the immediate families where we had Christmas in Hamilton and Tauranga. And then I jumped on a plane and went to South America for the first time. So spent New Year's Eve and New Year's in Rio, and it was spectacular. I think it broke the Guinness World of Records again for the second time for the most people at a New Year's fireworks celebration.
Really?
And it was really good.
How many people were there?
A couple of, I think maybe 3 million, I want to say. It was huge.
That's insane. Okay. And what were they all?
Everyone dresses in white. So like I bought a white outfit, so everyone's in white clothing, and it's really cool. Everyone's very happy. This was my first time in South America. So the culture is super different there. Everyone's really friendly. There is a bit of crime. I did get my phone stolen. The second day I was there, so that was a bit of a wake up call.
Okay, but can you share for the listeners, because actually I really didn't love the fact that you got your phone stolen. Who goes away on holiday and has a backup phone ready to go? Ben Van Rooy. Like, do you want to?
I have a backup. I kind of knew, like, I have a backup phone anyway. I mean, running the agencies means that I do need to be contactable. I knew there was a risk of losing my phone, so I had a backup phone at the ready. But yeah, I was leaving a club on one evening and walking down the street, booking an Uber, and there was a motorbike that pulled up right beside me on the footpath and grabbed the phone right out of my hand.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
It was crazy. It was surreal. So I then spent the next 5 or so hours calling banks and phone companies and everything.
Which is the worst, absolutely.
It's the worst.
And so give us a little bit of a flavour of what, if I was taking a marketing lens in Rio, what would I be seeing? Like, is the marketing much the same as it is here? Like, what, it's just kind of top line?
It's very similar. I mean, it kind of Rio feels a little bit like Barcelona, maybe a little bit like Thailand. I mean, it's very much a beach city. The advertising that I saw was they have digital billboards, they have billboards, they have one of the best things was the food and beverage and cigarette people on the beach. There was one woman that was selling, I think she was selling empanadas, and she walked around the beach with a loudspeaker making different noises and sounds, and it was very entertaining.
I mean, that's one way to build awareness.
It is, and I think the Brazilian brand and their the pride and the brand and the flag with football, with everything that they do. It was brilliant. Such a beautiful culture, beautiful people, and Ipanema and Copacabana Beach was spectacular. Highly recommended. And now, I mean, they're just going into carnival season, which is a whole other experience. And I definitely want to go back to experience that.
That's amazing. Oh, well, look, I'm sure you've had a much more exotic holiday than some of us who are in the Coromandel, but
You have to take advantage. I mean, these 2 weeks are really the only 2 weeks that the agency shuts down. So it's I usually take advantage. And then next year we're thinking about Mexico City, where I have been already. I went there a couple of years ago. So super exciting.
Amazing.
So have you got some news for us this week, Steph?
Yes, for once, I'm starting out 2026 very strong, and I have 2 bits of news actually, and just a couple of things I noticed over the break, just from a marketing perspective. I've been doing a little bit of catch up on podcasts. I think everyone, including us, people tend to. There's nothing new really coming out in podcast land, but it's picked up a little bit in the last 7 days. And some of the stuff that I've noticed, two things that caught my eye this week. One is that Elf Cosmetics, were a darling of Cannes.
Love Elf.
Love Elf.
So good.
Did you know that they have come out with a collab with Liquid Death?
Oh my God, I love Liquid Death as well. I mean, I'm a big Snoop Dogg Martha fan. Oh my God.
So it's called what have they got? They've got a new lip balm called the Lip Balm.
This is very Hell Pizza, Ellie.
It's so great. And so they've basically got different flavors, so to speak, or scents. And they've got a can that matches. And so the PR kits are little coffins, and you can get like a little balm. Yeah. And so I went deep and watched and they've created this fictional character called Glotha, and it's a really comedic like kind of viral video to advertise it, and I thought that's really cool. So I think you'll probably expect to hear more about this depending on how it goes. But I thought what a great brand collab. Yeah,
are you going to get a coffin lip balm?
I mean, I feel like I need to get Elf.
You need to get it. You need to go and buy one.
Oh, yeah. And then the other thing, I think one of the early days when we started this pod was talking about Sydney Sweeney and the good old American jeans, American apparel. So it's so funny because I feel like there have been such mixed results on whether this worked or not. Like that, the amount of people I hear saying it increased sales by 30%. Other people saying the wrong demographic did nothing for the group, etc. I can't get to the bottom of it, nor do I have the time. But what I can confirm is Sydney Sweeney is doubling down. She's continuing on with American Apparel.
She's doing another campaign.
Yeah, we can expect to see another campaign for 2026. So that was great. And then just on a personal note for news, I was desperate to get my hands on some Foursquare merch because there was a new range, and I went to visit the Matarangi Foursquare and was sorely disappointed that they didn't have any. So I'm actually going to go out this week and see if I can get my hands on maybe some sort of Foursquare hat, because I like my merch.
Yes, and I like your post about what a certain supermarket was stocking.
Yeah, kiwi onion dip, and
love that dip.
Yeah, so honestly, I mean, talk about changing your display to hit what people are looking for. Yeah,
and that was a wall of that dip and cream. That's crazy.
And tonic water, and there's like all the tonic water at the front of the store was just about gone because it's white middle-aged ladies like me all having their gin and tonics.
I love it. I love it.
All right, what about international news, Ben?
International news. Well, I've got a mix of international and Australian. So the Golden Globes happened in the US, I think it was a couple of days ago. And this year, they had a new category, which was the podcast category. So, Steph, that's a goal maybe that we can set. Should we aim for a Golden Globe?
Golden Globe? Why not?
Can you imagine?
Well, okay. What do you have to do to win a Golden Globe podcast?
Well, I'm pretty sure you have to be famous. You have to have been in movies, etc., etc. I don't know. Anyway, the winner was a Good Hang with Amy Poehler, and I do watch that podcast. It's amazing. It is video format. It's on YouTube. Amy's amazing. Parks and Recreation, Saturday Night Live. She's a legend. And also a really awesome human, and she interviews a lot of her celebrity friends. So highly recommend.
Well, what are we going to do there?
And also in the US was the Consumer Electronics Show, which is an annual event. This is where all of the big tech players come together to show all of the latest gadgets. I've watched a bit of the coverage. Some of my notable favorites are a barcode scanner for your fridge, so you
That's
can
cool.
tell your fridge what's going in there. I've seen a number of iterations of smart fridges that like have cameras on the inside, so that if you're at the shop,
Really?
we've all been there. We're at the supermarket and we're like, "Do I have milk in the fridge?" And you can basically turn the light and the camera on in the fridge and see what
But
you've got.
what if your milk is hiding behind the giant jar of pickles, Ben?
Who
Like, it's
knows?
not foolproof, is it?
No,
No.
but with the barcode scanner, maybe.
Yeah.
So that was cool. There's also a robot vacuum that also does stairs. So not only does it climb the stairs, but it vacuums it as it goes up, which
I'm
is
here.
crazy.
Does it have legs? How does it work?
It does. It has two legs with two wheels. I don't know. It looked very unstable. I think it was just a prototype. But yeah, I know I have a robo vacuum, but I have a single level apartment. But I know if you've got stairs, you kind of need a robot on both sets of floors. Yeah, this is cool. And then on top of that, so many wearables, glasses, AI and everything, cameras and everything. Yeah, speaking of, are you still using your Meta glasses, Steph?
It's so funny you say that, Ben, because
You have them on. I love it.
I actually brought mine out of hibernation today,
Yeah.
and they needed to be recharged, and they're
Mhm.
amazing. So yes, are you wearing your Meta glasses, Ben? Because
No, but I do have them here. I am a one for a gadget, but I also buy gadgets and then don't use them. So yeah. And then the final piece of news, very sad news that just came out today. South by Southwest Sydney is cancelled after 3 years. So
yeah,
yeah, they decided that it wasn't viable, probably for financial reasons. So, yeah, a bit sad. I mean, I've been to South by Southwest 2 of the last 3 years, and obviously Steph and I spoke. So, yeah, really sad. Hopefully, something new comes up in its place. I am currently scouting to see if I am going to go to Austin, to the birthplace of South by Southwest. So, TBC.
yeah. Do you know what? Can you off the cuff? Do you know what the dates are for South by Southwest Austin?
It's in March at some point, I think. It's
Yeah,
coming up soon. Yeah. So
it's
I don't know
fair
if I'm
fun.
going to be able to prioritize it, but we'll see.
Okay, great. Watch this. Watch the space. We could coming to you live from South by Southwest Austin.
Yes. So this week, the topic is 2026 predictions. And this is actually something that one of my other favorite podcasts called Hard Fork does. They start the
Yes.
year off with predictions. So in that vein, this episode will be talking about our predictions for 2026.
Such that they are. We think we need a disclaimer. We are not financial or advisors or
I know. I mean, you can't take anything we say seriously.
absolutely not.
We do not employ any fact checkers yet. Yeah, who knows?
We could be wildly inaccurate. Who knows?
We could be, but yeah, definitely do not buy stocks or any financial products based on the recommendations that Steph and I give today.
No, 100%. Okay. Which is great because actually I've had some feedback and people really liked our wrap up for the Christmas episode. So I think it's only fitting that we launch into 2026 with our, how we think the world's going to look.
Yes. And so in terms of perspectives, I'll come with a bit of a B2B flavor, B2B flavors, and Steph will bring consumer world to life. But what is your first prediction, Steph?
Oh, I feel like you should go first, Ben.
Okay, I'll go first.
I want you to go first.
My first prediction, I think brand is really going to be even more important this year, especially for B2B. So last year we saw a real resurgence in brand. In the past, performance marketing or marketing that is trying to deliver sales and results was really prioritized. You had a lot of brands putting a lot of money into digital platforms that were really focused on delivering sales in an e-commerce store or leads to a B2B business. So all of the marketing money really trying to push for immediate conversions or lead generation. And last year we saw really the rise of brand and a real focus back on brand marketing and brand campaigns. And I think this year it will really take off to another level. So brands that have an over-reliance on lead gen and short-term metrics will start to see flattening returns. And the brands that mix their brand, top, middle, and lower funnel will really do well and see better results. And I think, countries like New Zealand and Australia, the brands in those markets that take the initiative and take that lead will definitely get an advantage.
I really hope that that is the case because, and what I would love to see in the B2B space is some more thought leadership around that and proof points and data to show that it's just important to have that brand element and not just focus on the performance metrics. And unfortunately, you just need a board or a CEO that can also stay the course on that. So sometimes that comes down to leadership, right?
100%. And having marketers that know how to sell a brand campaign will be important. So looking at metrics that aren't just pure immediate revenue.
Yep. Okay, so from the B2C perspective, I think I really believe that we're going to crave like the idea of being really real. And I think there's something about, and I can't say this without also talking about the rise of AI. And this is almost a two-pronged approach. What do I think is going to happen in 2026? AI is everywhere. It already is everywhere. It's becoming, the adoption rates are increasing. However, as more and more people start to integrate AI, I think we're seeing a backlash against what is really obvious AI and the integration of it, where you're losing the sense of who the company really is. So I think real for me comes out in two ways. One is the rise and the importance of experiences and genuine, like seeing the people like keynote speakers or businesses actually doing face-to-face interactions, or like really bringing to life your brand in a way that is tangible for people outside of just ubiquitous. I mean, I come back to the Coke AI ad, for example, and how do you inject a level of realness into your tone of voice so that it really does feel unique and different? Because I think as people are adopting things like ChatGPT, we just run the risk of everything becoming a very
Sloppy
same.
mess. Sloppy
Yeah.
mess.
And
I agree, Steph. I think there's a bit of AI fatigue happening. At the same time, I think AI is not actually delivering what it said it would.
yeah,
We have this idea, and I get advertising to me every day. It's like, all you need to do is upload your website URL and put in your brand guide, and you'll create 500 pieces of content, and it's like, ugh, who wants that? Ugh.
yeah, ugh.
Yeah. Like, I think there is a place for it. So I think, like, let's talk about where it belongs in the funnel. I think if you've got, bottom of funnel performance type marketing campaigns where you've got a big inventory and you just need to pump out,
Words,
buy our widgets in 5 flavors, brilliant,
fine.
great. But
Yeah.
but for your brand, for your mid and top funnel, you know, that's where marketers really come into their own. And it's going to be really easy now for anyone to do that kind of mass bottom of funnel marketing.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I just think what I would love to see by the end of this year is a rise in brands doing experiences. And so touching the product, being with the product, things that you can't screenshot, that real interaction. To build on this trend, actually, what I've been hearing about over the break is this rise of people, and I think it's actually more in Gen Z, either basically get uninstalling their apps after 7 o'clock at night, or completely going digitally free for a period of time, because we're starting to see the impact of all of this ongoing access to screen time, and people going, no, I'm actually going to take a break from it because I know I can't beat the algorithm and I want to have more quality face-to-face time. And so I think the stronger you can be as a brand and being individualistic and really clarifying your positioning, but also as a person having a strong point of view on something and doing things in person. So that's my kind of pick.
Brilliant.
Oh,
My next prediction is the continued rise of specialist agencies. So we, at the end of last year and throughout the year, we had a lot of consolidation in ad and marketing land with some big agency mergers. So I think this gives a real opportunity for smaller specialist agencies and talent, to be fair, to rise up. So I think that those generalist agencies, the big behemoths, it's hard to justify the types of margins that they carry. So I think those generalist agencies will potentially lose a bit of ground. There will be more niche specialists, both in B2B and in consumer, specializing in strategy, creative, activation, and clients, again, choosing those specialists. And I think there's still a place for strategy, and we're going to talk about that in a future episode. So there is still the role of strategy and strategy agencies and strategy specialists, but there will be a mix of smaller agencies delivering real specialist expertise within platforms, and this will also change what it means with more brands bringing agency teams in-house. So potentially growing in-house agencies, and then using specialist agencies for execution where it doesn't make sense to do something in-house. And then also pair that with AI being used for some of those more administrative, repetitive tasks.
Yeah, and if we play forward what we saw happen right at the end of last year, which is the DDB challenge, right? You can logically assume there's lots of movement happening in agency land. And you're seeing some fragmentation, and there are definitely going to be a whole bunch of agency people who will now, and this is at different parts of their career. So juniors who would have maybe started an agency land and built a career up through a traditional pathway, this is another prediction. It's widely known that these people aren't going to have the same trajectory because those junior roles, largely due to the change in technology with the adoption of AI, basically taking out that work, and that's across not just in agencies, but that's in lots of other sectors as well. So I think you're going to have younger people who've potentially got have studied a craft, have just come out of university, and don't know what they're going to do with that degree now because the industry has basically crumbled before their eyes potentially. And then second of all, you're also going to be seeing some senior people in certain parts of agencies needing to either, not change skill set necessarily, but really think differently about the way that they approach, because I think that some of those traditional roles are going to change and the skill sets are there, but it's just looking at how do you adapt and rethink about your transferable skills. And I don't know the answer. I honestly don't know what the answer to that is, but I think you'll see a lot of movement. And what I really desperately hope is that this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity for growth and for some really good thinking and for, like you say, smaller specialist, more niche, deep knowledge in something and really doubling down on that and maybe harnessing the power of AI. So that would be my build on that point.
100%. And I think there's a big change happening, and I think AI is part of that change. But the industry is changing, and I think, to be fair, it's probably going to be changing for the better, and it will create a much more level playing field again for new thinking, new ideas, new ways of creating and marketing.
Yeah. And I feel like, if I think about what we were thinking about 12 months ago, and we kind of knew that that agencies would look different, but I felt like it felt more opaque. It definitely feels more real now. And I would suspect that in 12 months' time, when we have this conversation, it will be very clear.
Mm-hmm. And I think the worry was originally is that the whole industry was imploding, and that is not what is happening. Which is good. It's just it's readjusting.
Yeah, I agree. One of my other predictions will be, and I say this because I'm an optimist, but I would also really like to think that we have a better, it was survive 25, and I think I'm seeing much more optimism. Yeah, definitely seeing more optimism in the market and people sort of going, right? We want to invest. I've spoken to quite a few businesses who are having a really great start to the year already, and unlocking some of those projects that have potentially been on hold. I would personally like to see Wellington in particular get back on board and really
Mm.
have some growth. So I feel like there might be some more optimism coming through for the year.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the economic markers are looking up. We've got good numbers for both Australia and New Zealand. Um, Nothing's a sure thing, though. I think,
No.
the cost of living crisis is still on everyone's minds as we're coming through into the new year. House prices are pretty stagnant. I think they're growing in Australia still, though. But yeah, it's not going to be a boom year, but hopefully it's going to be a steady, stable growth year.
Yeah. And there are a lot of people definitely what I saw on LinkedIn last year is a lot of people struggling to find work. I think this leads probably into my next point, which is I think there might be more opportunity. It's kind of linking together the idea of this agency world changing, but also opportunities to bring in specialists. And so maybe we're looking at maybe the full-time permanent jobs, maybe not that market, not necessarily growing exponentially, but opportunities to bring in people maybe on a fractional basis or to bring in a certain level of expertise. I can see businesses going, yeah, I'm going to slowly grow. I can see where my growth plans are, and I'm going to bring in the resource as I need to support the business.
Brilliant. And then also that growth of in-house teams, I think that will be a key trend. So the brands will potentially be shifting budget away from agency into an in-house team
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
the roles make sense.
Yeah. Exactly. What else have you got on your list?
So I have what I'm calling the content explosion. So, unfortunately, content is going to explode. So
Yeah.
content volume will increase, but quality will decide. So I think
Mm.
AI is driving this content explosion. It's so easy now to create thousands of pieces of assets, of copy, of video with AI. I think great for bottom of funnel, but I think the gap between a lot of average content and excellent content will widen. And I think, again, it's the right place, for bottom of funnel, for transactional, for people ready to make a purchase. Brilliant. Have your bottle of fragrance on a generic AI background with a generic AI model,
But it's
with
so
some.
easy, Ben. It's so
It is
easy to
so
do that.
it is so easy, and it should be so easy. For people with these big catalogs, why not? Why not leverage AI for that? But not for everything. And I think again for brand campaigns, for new product launches, that's where you want to invest the time and actually doing great quality content. And this is where that original thinking will drive competitive advantage for brands, and thought
Um,
leadership will matter so much more than frequency. And I think it's that quality over quantity. It's quality and quantity. Like, have the quantity where you need the quantity, have the quality where you need the quality.
do you know what I heard over the break? Evidently, the younger audiences are so much more au fait than people of my age at identifying AI when AI has been put into something. And so the Coke AI example is a really good one because uh, people had grown up with Coke and sort of like were maybe 40 plus, didn't really distinguish a lot of difference between the AI Coke ads and the ones that have been going because it was all the same brand cues, right? But younger generation were like, oh yeah, no, like like they can tell bad AI and they're very scathing about it because they're far more in tune with what AI looks like. So I thought that was a really interesting distinction. And so maybe some parts of target audiences are completely blind to it, and others are like, absolutely, I can spot it a mile away. So you and I might create a perfume on an AI background. I think it looks wonderful.
Yeah, and I mean, it is for graphics now. It's almost indistinguishable. It's very hard to
Mm.
tell. I think videos still you can pick out the AI generated videos. One thing I love diving into comments where if I ever see a video that I feel like has some AI in it, I always
Yeah,
jump into the comments because there's always people that are trying to rip into the brand or the creator that has done it, and a lot of people really don't like it. And I
yeah.
think it's just adding to the slop.
I know.
The tidal wave of slop.
Tidal wave. So we're swimming in a soup of slop. To build on your content point though, the rise of long form content. So I also predict that in this wave of exponential amounts of short-term content, I think good quality. So there's also a rise in the Substack. So long form, genuinely helpful, thoughtful commentary in the likes of blogs and Substack articles, also long videos. So I think again, this pushback against our 8-second attention span. I think basically just going, I think there's a role to play for longer form storytelling.
Mm-hmm. And podcast being one of those. I mean, it's great that we've been recognised by the Golden Globes, because it is the new format, and it has been democratized. I mean, doing a radio show back in the day or a podcast did require quite an investment in technology and production and technical staff to do all the editing.
And look at us, just two microphones, two turntables and a microphone, and here we go.
Exactly.
Actually, that was one of my predictions. I believe that we will close the year out, 2026, with far more podcasts than we have, and I think that's wonderful. I think there'll be podcasts for all sorts of niche interests.
100%. What's your next prediction?
Oh, that was it. Golden Globes in the podcast. I have got one. I've got a clanger for the end, so I'm gonna save my best one for last.
Okay, so I've got just the continuing evolution of the B2B buyer experience. So B2B buyers expecting more and more the types of experiences they're getting in consumer land. So this means lower tolerance for generic websites and messaging, stronger emphasis on brand quality, confidence, and fingers crossed, more investment in the design and brand services that is very much commonplace in consumer brands. So this is a real opportunity for B2B brands to, really make a difference, find a niche, have a sense of humor, put forward the humans that are sitting behind that brand, whether they're making products or services, really having that human face.
Do you think that's because B2B are people too? And
B2B are people too. Yeah, I think B2B is always, the forgotten stepchild, whatever you want to call them,
the middle child.
Yeah, it's always been a sales-led organization. It's all relationship based or has been relationship based. But there's some really cool creative B2B brands, and I think this is a real opportunity for B2B brands to have a bit of fun.
Yeah. And I fully support that, and I think we've got some really great examples of that in New Zealand already, and so I think the likes of, in my world, it'd be the tracksuits and the Idealies of this world. I'd love to see more of that, and outside of the tech space too, and not just in tech space. Do something cool with, I don't know, I can't think of a B2B brand that's cool that's not in tech. Have you got one?
Cool B2B brands. A lot of them are tech references.
I know, and why is that? Come on, let's make.
Well, they have the money. That's why. Like, if we think about it, it's these tech brands that have big VC backings, and they can afford to do their big brand campaigns, and have goggles, and what have you. So it's also knowing your audience. I mean, if you've got a tech platform like Canva or something like that, your audience is really broad, and it makes sense to do a big consumer campaign. But if you've got a really, let's say you're selling widgets to, engineering specialists and in the oil and gas sector, I mean, you're not going to run a big brand ad. You're gonna be a lot more specific in the way that you go to market. So I think, it doesn't mean that you lose your sense of humor or your differentiation as a brand, but you're not going to be doing one of these big brand campaigns.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want my wild and wacky prediction for the year, Ben?
Yes, let's do a wild and wacky prediction.
Okay. So I think with this, what do we know about AI? AI can read sentiment. people can read sentiment, right? So what is the key difference that people bring into a room that AI doesn't? It's the ability to be able to read the room. So I'm going to make a call out for a new job title for 2026, and it's called the Vibe Translator. So this person comes into the room and it's translating the words that the CEO is asking for. We want to be really bold, and the CFO is going, no, actually, that's just, I hear that you're just going to spend all my money. So the Vibe Translator role is to sit in the room and to pick through all of that information and just, give an indication of whether the vibe is really good or not. What do you think?
Yeah, I like it. I think there is also going to be the role for the creators of culture. And I think what AI can't do is nuance, can't do, like, it can kind of do dry humor, and it is getting better at that. But,
Sort of.
sort of, but yeah, it is the brands that do well are the ones that are plugged into culture, the ones that are actually participating in the economy. It's the cool kids. Like, let's be honest,
Yeah, but the culture's so fragmented now. This is the other thing, because you used to be able to get like quite a good sense of what was happening in culture, because it was the
it was
cultural
mass
thing.
culture.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah, it's
exactly
more.
right.
But again, that's another opportunity for brands to really go and find the niche and participate. Participate in the market. Go and shop at the shops. Go and see the latest artist live in concert.
Yeah.
This is where culture gets made, and the good brands understand that and are participating in that culture. They're listening to their team members that are taking part. They're recruiting, grads. I think, there's this concern that AI is going to remove job opportunities for young people entering the market. And we all want the brands will want the consumers that are coming into the market. So, recruit those grads still, and get them to set the culture, get them to understand the customer better, get them to do what AI can't do.
Yeah, I agree. And I like the idea of cultural relevance. I mean, I love the idea that back in the day you could get you could do an ethnographic study and you could get a really good sense of culture at a broad scale. And I do think it's much harder these days. But you just have to look in the right places, right, for those subcultures and those cohorts. Yeah.
Good. So what's coming up in the next episode?
Next week we will be talking about consumer experience. So
Customer experience.
Yeah, customer and consumer experience. So effectively thinking about how do you actually really put customer at the heart of everything you do. And we've got Sarah Clearwater coming on as a guest, and she's going to help us talk about journey mapping, and how important it is to really understand your customer, and how do you become quite, really genuinely customer focused and think about that customer journey. And that applies to all sizes of businesses. So yeah, I think it'll be great.
And I think this is one of the lost arts of marketing as well. And I think now that, if we're thinking about our jobs and things that AI can and can't do, journey mapping is one thing that, good marketers should understand the
Yeah.
process from awareness all the way through to loyal customer. Understanding and mapping that process is a really key skill for marketers.
Yeah.
So it's going to be exciting to have Sarah on with us next week.
Excellent. All right.
Good. All right. Well, enjoy your weekend, Steph. Great to be back with you for 2026.
I know. Let's go get a Golden Globe.
Yes, let's get a Golden Globe. Yeah, we'll put that in our 5-year plan.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Have a good week, everyone.
See you later.
Bye. Can the Marketing Podcast is brought to you by Q Marketing and Human Digital. Our editor is Bruna Barbosa. New episodes drop weekly, so tell your friends and colleagues.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you follow and subscribe to Canned wherever you listen. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and if you want the full visual experience, check us out on YouTube.
See you next week.